Hey Amazon business owners, welcome to the AccrueMe Growth Capital for Amazon Sellers Business Workshop. In this workshop, I'm going to show you exactly how you can increase your Amazon profits by 349% in less than a year. That's right, 349% profit growth on Amazon in less than a year. My name's Sam Koch, I'm one of the partners of AccrueMe, and with that, I'm going to get right into the workshop. So, how do you grow your profit 100% year over year? Well, this is really the high-level executive summary. A, you have to have a profitable Amazon business. You have to have cracked the code to know how to sell products profitably on Amazon. 2, you have to have clear opportunities to grow. What does that mean? That means that if you had more money, you know exactly where you would invest it to start generating an ROI on products on Amazon. 3, I have a profitable business, know exactly where you would put the money to grow, you have to raise capital. And ideally, you look for business-friendly long-term capital that's going to allow you to grow and not stunt your growth, okay? You have to keep reinvesting. In order to achieve 100% plus profit growth every year in any business, you have to be willing to reinvest your money into the business. You have to work very hard. You guys all know that. If you're here, you're profitably selling on Amazon, you're looking to raise capital, you understand that it takes hard work to grow a business. Nothing is done for you or made overnight. Okay? And if you follow all those steps, you will be able to grow. Now, I want to make it even more real for you guys and show you an actual partner story from one of our partners at AccrueMe and show you how they increase their profit by 349% in less than a year. So the example I want to use is Gary and Joy. So in 2018, before they started working with us, Gary and Joy invested about $25,000 of their own capital into an Amazon business. As a result, in 2018, they had a profitable Amazon business. They were selling $90,000 in revenue. Their profit was just about $9,000. So they cracked the code, but they knew they could do so much more if they just had capital. So they met the first 2 steps. Now they were looking for outside capital. They did their research. They saw all the funding solutions in the space and they ran the numbers. And they realized if they truly wanted to grow, they needed to work with someone that was business friendly, and they came to AccrueMe because they knew we only took a share of the profit and there was no required payment, so they could keep reinvesting it in the business. Here are the results. In 2019, a year later, after we doubled their capital and gave them another $25,000 to grow their business, they went from that number of just under $100,000 to $400,000 in revenue. They increased their profit from $9,000 to $48,000 in the business. And even after worrying about AccrueMe's profit share, they still brought home $40,000 in profit. So they went from 9 to 40 in less than a year. Now, the reason they were able to do that was because they worked hard, they had a great business, but they had capital that was business friendly, that didn't require any payments and allowed them to grow. And just here's the secret, I'll show you in the next slide. They didn't make any payments to AccrueMe for 18 months. So again, here are the numbers. They increased their revenue by 33% in 2018 to 2019. They increased their profit by 438%. And they increased the total seller profit for them by 349%. Enormous numbers. Now, 2020, a year they were still working with us, they achieved even more incredible growth. Look at these numbers. $700,000 in total revenue, $132,000 in total profit. And their profit that they brought home was $103,000 of profit in 1 year. Think about those numbers, it's huge. They made a gigantic leap from the $40,000 the year prior to $103,000. Think about that. Again, 75% revenue growth, 172% profit growth, and most importantly to you on this workshop and to them, the amount that they brought home increased by 154% to $103,000. Pretty amazing. So here's just a chart that shows you the rapid growth that they experienced in 2 years. That's really, like hockey stick growth. It's very, very good. And they had a great business and they had AccrueMe capital, which is why they were able to achieve that. Now, this is the business. Look how much their profit increased. $9,000 in 2018, $40,000 in 2019, $103,000 in 2020. Where do you think they're going to be this year? $200,000? Probably a pretty good bet. So you can see that when you work with AccrueMe, you are going to increase your profits more than you would with any other funding source. Now, how did they take out the cash? Gary and Joy, they had personal living expenses. They were doing this full time. They were taking out their profits throughout the relationship, throughout the 2 years, a $5,000 distribution, of $10,000, $15,000. They were taking out money the whole time to live, which was totally fine. When did they pay us? They didn't pay us anything for 18 months until September of 2020. What other investor or lender is ever going to let you not make a payment for 18 plus months? And by the way, that's not, if you want to pay earlier, you can, or if you want to take longer, you can. This is just their example, okay? Now, how did they repay AccrueMe? They repaid us. We invested our $25,000. In 2019, we made $8,000. They made $40,000. But they didn't make any payments, so it accrued, hence the name AccrueMe. It was added to what we invested. In 2020, we made $29,000. They made $103,000. They didn't want to pay us, so they let it accrue. So finally, they started making, so our total capital was then $62,000, okay? They started then making payments. You can see here on the screen, this is directly from the AccrueMe portal. They made a $3,000 payment September 10, 2020. That was the first time they paid us in over 18 months. Then they made it about 10 days later, they made another payment, $2,000. And then in Q4, they had a really big Q4. They were making big payments, $10,000, $5,000, another $10,000 right here where you can see where in about 4 months, they paid down $30,000. And by the way, if they wanted to pay us down completely, they have plenty of cash in the bank where they could do that, but they're smart and they're reinvesting our capital and our profits to grow even more this year. So now our total capital is $32,000 and they'll pay us off slowly. But again, they're building a much bigger business where it's not going to be a problem for them to pay us off $10,000, $15,000, $10,000 in the future. So that's the actual repayment for Gary and Joy. So now's the part of the webinar where I want to ask you, would you be able to double your profits with double the capital? If you're on here and you're thinking, this is amazing, I knew if I had double the money, if I went from 25 to another 25 to 50, or if I went from 100 to 200, I can invest that in XYZ product, or I can never run out of product Y so I have to relist and re-rank. This is right for you. You're going to be able to grow just like Gary and Joy. If you're sitting here and you don't know where you would invest the money, if you don't know what you can invest in and generate an immediate return, this is probably not the right solution for you, okay? But if it is the right solution and you're like Gary and Joy and want to grow quickly, I'm going to show you exactly how to get started growing your profits. So here's a high-level executive summary. Gary and Joy were able to increase their profits by 349% in 2019 and 154% in 2020. That was their profit that they took home. That slide that I showed you, the hockey stick growth for the profits that they brought home. They generated $181,000 in total profit in the business. During our relationship, even though we represented 50-50 in the capital, they kept 144% of the profit. We made 37%. So they did really, really well, and we did well too. Because with AccrueMe, we only make money when you make money. So if you do great, we're going to do great. And that's exactly what happened with Gary and Joy. And that's how we set it up. They made no payments. So they were able to keep reinvesting instead of paying a bank or a credit card or a loan every month or every week or some of these other crazy ones where, every day you're making an interest and principal payment. And you will always keep the lion's share when you work with AccrueMe. We've set this up to be a no-brainer win-win for you. The only way that you cannot do well with AccrueMe is if you take our capital and don't immediately put it to work to start generating a profit and ROI. That's the only way. So are you ready to experience growth like Gary and Joy? If you're watching this and you're ready to get started right now and experience that type of profit growth, here's what I want you to do. Go to visit the app.accrueme.com. So it's app.accrueme.com. We're going to ask you for some general contact information, a little bit of info about your business. And from there, you'll be able to either one, set up a phone call with me, where we'll get on the phone. I'll learn about your business. I'll tell you about AccrueMe, how we can help you. Or you can go right to getting a proposal. It's a 4-page doc. It tells you exactly how much we can invest, exactly the profit share for your business. And from there, we can still set up another phone call. So go to app.accrueme.com, fill out the form, and from there, we'll either set up a call or get your proposal in 1 to 2 days. So guys, I really appreciate you taking the time to be on this workshop and webinar. I hope you see the power of what Amazon has created, but even more importantly, with smart business-friendly capital from AccrueMe, how you can take your business to the next level and experience 349% profit growth in a year. My name's Sam Koch from AccrueMe. I appreciate you taking the time. Keep growing.